Welcome to the Deconstructionist Deep Dive, the podcast that doesn't just accept the story.
But we break it
We examine the pieces.
and expose the machinery inside.
Let's dive in. Okay, so what if that feeling, the one of being a lonely, separate self just rattling around inside your head, that thing you probably think of as the most fundamental fact about you? Well, what if it isn't just, I don't know, a misunderstanding?
What if it's actually, as our sources are suggesting here, the central designed illusion? An illusion that's, well, engineered to keep you feeling powerless, kind of insecure, and always needing to consume something.
That really makes you think, doesn't it? What's that one core idea you've been holding on to, maybe without even realizing it, that you're finally ready to just put on the chopping block? Today, we're plunging right into the really profound insights of Alan Watts. We're drawing specifically from material called Dismantling the Deceptions of Reality. And our mission really is for you. It's to dissect these core concepts, these conceptual nodes that shape how we see everything.
Yeah, we want to pinpoint their vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
And maybe arm you with some tools to see through all the noise out there.
Exactly. We're here to walk you through these pretty powerful ideas, not telling you what to think, of course, but showing you what the sources themselves reveal.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The first big one, the first sort of high priority target our source points to, it's the real linchpin of our conditioning. Alan Watts called it the skin-encapsulated ego.
Skin-encapsulated ego.
Yeah. It's that feeling, that really pervasive, almost common sense sensation that you're a separate I. An I that's located somewhere inside your body, looking out at this external world, which feels like an it.
Right. The me in here versus the world out there.
Exactly. And the source presents this as the primary prison of the mind. It's like the basic assumption, the axiom of the common sense self.
Okay, that's a huge claim. But how does it actually work on us? Why is this belief in being separate, so isolated, why is it so effective?
Well, this is where it gets really fascinating and maybe a bit unsettling. The sources suggest this perception acts as a really potent control mechanism, specifically for a consumerist state.
A control mechanism? How so?
Think about it. If you feel isolated, fundamentally insecure, kind of alone in your skin, you're the perfect consumer, aren't you?
Ah, right. You're constantly needing to buy something to feel whole.
Exactly. You're pushed to purchase identity, security, validation, all from external systems.
Like the latest phone or a certain brand or even latching on to ideologies.
Precisely. And this internal feeling of separation, it actually makes us fear real community.
Why? Because deep connection threatens that illusion.
Yeah, it messes with the whole separate me story. The material even brings in Michel Foucault here.
Oh, interesting. Foucault's ideas about power.
Right. The idea that the self isn't something we just find, it's actually produced. Produced by systems of power. Think about schools, medicine, the legal system. They all subtly shape who we believe we are.
So we end up policing ourselves based on this manufactured idea of a separate self.
Wow. And it's not just some abstract philosophy, Our source calls this out directly as deception #4. You are your skin.
You are your skin.
Yeah. It describes it as Cartesian dualism. Descartes' mind-body split, but kind of weaponized, leveraged culturally.
Weaponized? How?
It's like it metaphorically cuts the soul out of the world, leaves us feeling like lonely ghosts stuck inside these biological machines.
Wow. That's a stark image.
It is. And the freedom lens here, as the source puts it, is critical, this lie. It is the bars of your mental cell. The argument is you're not just in the universe, you are the universe. But the systems, the conditioning made you forget that to keep you manageable, docile.
And this flies completely in the face of other traditions, right? Like Zen Buddhism.
Completely. Think of Muga, or no self, in Zen. The ego isn't a real thing, just a temporary pattern, a useful fiction sometimes.
Or deticology, too, the ecological self.
Exactly. Where your self is the whole interconnected system. It's a total flip from the isolated I.
Okay, so our idea of self is potentially a construct. What about our idea of the universe itself? Is that also being manipulated?
Well, the sources argue yes. There's another major conceptual node we really need to scrutinize. They call it the fully automatic model.
The fully automatic model, what's that?
It's basically the dominant story today, the sort of life-denying contemporary myth. It's that post-God, scientific-ish worldview where the universe is just a big, dumb machine. Blind energy, mechanics.
Belief. Consciousness.
But accidents, flukes, lucky maybe, but ultimately meaningless blips in the grand indifferent mechanism.
Okay, but isn't that just, like, science?
But that's the catch, the source points out. It's often presented as scientific fact, but it's really more of an assumption. an axiom, a philosophical stance dressed up in scientific jargon, a kind of bafflement, as the source puts it, masking a deeply nihilistic claim.
Okay, I see. So it's a worldview, not necessarily a proven fact. But why does that narrative thrive? What's the agenda there, according to the source?
Well, the argument is that this fully automatic model works perfectly as a control mechanism for technocratic capitalism.
How does that connect?
If the universe is just a machine, then life itself, including us humans,
Yeah.
it gets reduced to just another resource.
Like human capital.
Precisely. Something to be optimized, managed, exploited purely for efficiency and profit. It drains away any inherent purpose or value, maximizes control.
And this links to another deception.
Yeah, deception #3. Consciousness is a fluke. The source calls this the ultimate intellectual suicide bomb.
Wow. Strong words.
Think about it, though. If your deepest feelings, your love, your sense of beauty, your awareness, if it's all just random neurological static.
Then meaning just evaporates.
Exactly. And that makes it easier to justify, well, almost anything. Apathy towards suffering, destroying nature, systemic injustice. Because, hey, nothing really matters.
Right. It's a metaphysical horror story, basically. It strips away your value.
Leaves you as just an economic input, yeah.
Okay, but this idea of the universe as machine, it feels older than just modern capitalism, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It has deeper roots. The source traces it back to another key concept, the ceramic model.
The ceramic model, like pottery.
Kind of. It's the term used for that foundational Western worldview where the universe is seen as an artifact, something made, created by divine technician God, basically out of passive dead matter, like a potter shaping clay.
Ah, the creator separate from the creation. Top down.
Exactly. The original top-down construct.
Yeah.
Which is totally different from, say, Taoism.
How so?
Taoism sees the universe more as a process, an unfolding, a self-so thing. It wasn't made by someone outside it. It grows. It happens.
And Advaita Vedanta, similar idea.
Similar outcome, different path. The world isn't made by Brahman, the ultimate reality. It is a manifestation of Brahman. It's an expression, not an object.
That's a fundamentally different way of seeing things. So how did the ceramic model serve power structures?
Well, think about it. If the universe was made by a divine technician, then institutions like the church or even the state can position themselves as his interpreters.
Ah, the ones who know the maker's instruction.
Right. And therefore, they demand obedience from us, the creations. They promise order, guidance.
In exchange for loyalty.
Exactly. This is what the source labels deception #1, the deity as king metaphor. It argues this installs a kind of slave mentality.
By teaching us to kneel to a cosmic king first.
It makes it easier to get us kneeling to earthly kings, earthly masters. It's about establishing power hierarchies.
Okay, so we have the ceramic model, the fully automatic model.
Right.
What's the underlying flaw they share, according to the source?
The source points to the flaw of stuff. Node 4.
Flaw of stuff.
Yeah, the very idea that reality is built from some kind of basic, passive, unintelligent matter or stuff.
But isn't that obvious? Like atoms, molecules?
Well, the source argues it's largely a linguistic trap, a fallacy baked into our language. Even modern physics, when you look closely, describes patterns, fields, energy relationships, not really inert things.
So it's more about verbs than nouns. More process than substance.
That's a good way to put it. This leads to deception, #2. Reality is made of stuff. And the consequence, it reduces the living dynamic universe to dead resources.
Perfect for capital to just commodify and exploit.
Exactly. It turns the whole cosmos into a dead warehouse. It makes you feel like that lonely ghost haunting it.
Okay, so if we buy into these models, the separate ego, the automatic universe, the world of stuff, what are the tangible results, the consequences on the ground?
The sources paint a pretty grim picture. One major outcome is Node 6, the war on nature.
War on nature, because we feel separate from it. Alien.
Precisely. If we're just alien flukes in a dumb machine, or stewards of a fallen creation, then nature is either hostile or just raw material, something to be conquered, controlled, exploited.
And the other consequence?
Node 11, the alienation crisis. This deep, pervasive, existential despair. Meaninglessness. Even, the source suggests, a kind of collective death wish showing up in our anxieties, our conflicts.
It feels very real, though, that sense of alienation.
It's presented as the logical, practical outcome of basing our reality on these flawed ideas.
But why do we fight nature and ourselves? That war on nature idea. Where does that specifically come from?
The analysis in our source digs into this, framing it as deeply tied to patriarchal and colonial thinking.
How so?
It tends to frame nature as this chaotic, maybe feminine force that needs to be dominated, ordered, controlled by rational masculine power.
Like Francis Bacon saying we need to put nature on the rack to force out her secret.
Exactly, that kind of thinking. It's the metaphysics of the bulldozer, basically. Extraction and control above all else.
And this becomes deception #5, life is a war against nature.
Yes, and the source is clear. This isn't just a philosophical point. It's a declaration of war against your own body, your own planet, your very source of life.
It tricks you into thinking you're being heroic, maybe, while you're actually fighting against yourself.
Precisely. Fighting for a paradigm that ultimately diminishes everyone.
Okay, this is all quite deconstructive. Is there an alternative? A more accurate model proposed by the sources?
Yes, absolutely. And this is presented not just as philosophy, but as something supported by modern science, systems theory, ecology, even quantum mechanics. It's Node 10, interdependent, co-arising.
Interdependent co-arising. What does that mean exactly?
It means that nothing exists in isolation. Everything defines everything else. All things arise together, mutually dependent.
Like the whirlpool and the stream example.
Exactly. The whirlpool is the stream doing a certain pattern. The stream's flow is partly defined by that whirlpool. They aren't separate things, they co-arise.
So the organism and the environment
Are expressions of each other. You can't have one without the other. They arise together. This completely dismantles that skin-encapsulated ego.
because you're not separate from the environment, you're an expression of it.
You are inseparable from the whole cosmic process. It's not just a nice idea. It's presented as the actual reality.
And this challenges another deception, right? Something about how we talk about arriving here.
Yes, deception #6.
Yeah.
You came into this world. It seems so innocent, that phrase.
Came into, yeah, sounds normal.
But think about the framing. It makes you sound like a stranger, an outsider, a tenant arriving somewhere foreign.
Like you don't really belong or you're just visiting.
Exactly. The source beautifully reframes it. You didn't come into this world. You came out of it.
Out of it. Like a wave from the ocean.
Yes. Or a leaf from a tree, an apple from a branch. You're an expression of this place, this universe, not an alien visitor.
That simple shift in preposition, out of instead of into, changes everything.
It's described as a hypnotic trigger for alienation. The truth, the source argues, is you are the world expressing itself this way. You're the destination, in a sense, not the tourist.
So if the universe isn't made of stuff and we come out of it, what is the universe, according to this more accurate model?
It's not form stuff. It's more like a self-moving, self-designing pattern, a dance, intelligent energy in motion.
Node 5, the world as pattern dance.
Right. It's a radical shift, and hard for many to grasp because we're so conditioned by the stuff model. It feels less scientific to some.
Because it brings mind or intelligence back into the picture.
Exactly. It reintegrates what the old models split apart. But the source presents this as the positive framework, the exhilarating reality that emerges when you dismantle the old deadening models.
Seeing reality as this vibrant, interconnected, intelligent dance.
In which you are not just an observer, but an active, integral participant.
So when we put it all together, what's the ultimate deception that all these other ones serve?
It boils down to that primal split, the feeling that you are fundamentally separate, that you're this tiny, fragile subject, trapped in here, inside your skin, staring out at a vast, cold, indifferent object called the universe.
That subject-object split.
That's the foundational lie. The bedrock, according to the source, for every hierarchy, every form of exploitation, all that existential dread.
It's the original wound.
Yes, the wound that systems of power then rush in promising to heal, while actually, secretly, they keep pouring salt in it.
Because a wounded separate self is easier to control.
Precisely. The skin-encapsulated ego isn't just a mistake. It's the mechanism that convinces you that you need saving.
And then sells you the very system that created the feeling of needing to be saved in the first place. It's brilliant in a terrifying way.
It is. You see, this whole analysis,
Yeah.
it's not just intellectual gymnastics. It's intended as a map.
Yeah.
A map of the prison of perception, maybe, and perhaps a set of tools, like conceptual explosives.
So that identity, that feeling of being just a separate ego.
The source compares it to a colonial outpost, established in the territory of your own being, staffed by enemy ideas, enemy conditioning.
Wow. So the call to action is?
Evict them. Stop begging the guards of the system for meaning. Stop trying to just negotiate for a slightly more comfortable cage.
Realize the walls aren't real.
The walls are perception, an illusion. So tear down that perception that you are just a noun, a static thing. Embrace the verb, the process, the dance that you are.
You're the universe expressing itself as a human for a little while.
That's the invitation. Stop acting like a tenant, like a visitor who has to follow someone else's rules. Start reigning. Start recognizing the inherent sovereignty of your own experience.
Starting now.
Now, burn the library of lies you've been fed. The only text you truly need to read, to understand, is your own existence. And it's written in the language of everything that is.
And that's our deep dive for this week.
Remember, the most dangerous illusion is always the one you don't know you're in.
So, but now you know.
Yeah.
Or at least you have some new ways to question it. So here's our question for you. Knowing what you know now, hearing these ideas, what's maybe one small rebellious act you can do this week? Something to reclaim just a piece of your own cognition.
Let us know in the comments. Question the narrative. Deconstruct the dogma. See the system.
We'll see you next time. Stay skeptical.
Thank you for joining us.